All right, welcome to DNTV. Today is Thursday, September 24th. And today we're going to talk about short domain names. That's what everybody wants. LLs, NNs, CVs, NN, LLs, LNs, NLs. So let's talk about, for those of you that are just learning about all this stuff, just what we mean by all this stuff. So right now, the hottest thing, bar none, in domain names is short, letter, and number domain names. So we have got LL.coms, two-letter.coms, blowing up like crazy, pushing the lid off our industry. Where are we going to see the next 1, 2, 5, 8, 15, 20, $30 million sale? Might be an LL.com. Even rarer and almost scarcely seen ever are single character .coms. And when we do see them, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million. There's only 26 of them, plus 10 numbers means 36 one-character.coms ever. LL.coms, still tough to come by, 7-figure bankroll, hard to get, but they make the news. Now we've got LLL.coms, and then correspondingly, you can have an NN.com, 2 numbers, or you can have an NNN.com, 3 numbers, 175.com, 372.com. Rick Schwartz just put one off over $800,000. I think we had another $1 million sale. So the number.com, say those are 400,000 to $1 million. 2-number.coms we haven't had in a long while. Gotta believe those are 1 to 5 million. Letter.com. So a little more activity in this area. What's happened in this market is we've had a big change this year. Probably the biggest change that's happened in anything that I can remember, where the definition of what was premium changed in about January or February of this year. It used to be your premium letters in LLL were based upon what I call the Scrabble method. The lower the points they were in Scrabble, the more valuable they were as a domain name. So if you were a vowel, A-E-I-O-U, or an often used letter like S or T, you had more value. And if you were an X or a J or a K, and where you got 8 to 9 points, for those of you that remember playing Scrabble with little tiles, those were terrible names because it was much less likely that they were used in the name of a company. So we had premium domain names. Maybe the wholesale price the end of last year was maybe $10,000 for a 3-character name. You could buy one opportunistically for maybe 6 or 8. That's moved up to 12 to 15 to 20. And then right in the middle of all that, we had the Chinese market come in and start buying these things. And for them, because they're buying them based upon the probability or the chance that some of the words may be used in the name of a Chinese company or a Chinese theory, all of a sudden they didn't want vowels and they didn't want the letter V. So now we have 26 letters here. And if you're dealing with using them for branding, we have some letters that people like and some letters that people don't. And then you have Chinese premiums, where you have 26 letters, and all of a sudden here you don't want A, E, I, O, U, or V. And so there's a whole market for people saying, I want any 3-letter domain name, LLL.com, I want Chinese premiums. And then you have other people who want them based upon whether they're pronounceable. So we have that happening in the LLL space. All right, so we have a market where you have LLLs.com, but you have 2 vastly different ranges. If you're a Chinese premium, you may have a low price of 30,000, even at the wholesale level, up to a high price of unlimited. You may find someone that wants to pay 200,000, 500,000, $1 million. If those are their initials, they have to have it. It represents a word there. It sounds like a word for all kinds of different reasons. But what's more interesting now is that the speculative demand for Chinese premiums has pushed the low end of the market up to about 30K, irrespective of whether the high end of the market has moved or not. It's simply reduced the spread. Whereas in prior times, maybe for a name that you could get an end user price of say 200,000, then people would say, well, I only want to pay 20,000 for that domain name because I don't know when it's going to sell, when it might sell, if it's ever going to sell. So if I really want to be honest, I really only want to pay 10,000 for that domain name, and I'm still looking for a retail sale of $200,000. Well, now that the likelihood that you're going to have a retail sale of some number above 20, 30, 40, 50 over the next 5 years has increased, everyone's come in here and they've pushed up the low value of these names they trade at to maybe 30,000 or even higher. Second thing that's happened is as a little more supply was made available, people that maybe have been holding on to these names for years started selling them. There became more names to buy, which actually helped the market, because it wasn't a market that you couldn't buy something in. You could actually find letter.coms that you could buy, and people were making it available and they were selling them. So we saw price discovery where people were willing to pay 12 and then 15 and then 18 and then 19, and then I'll buy it for 25, no questions asked. I'll buy it for 35, no questions asked, and that's pushed the price up. All right. Now, we move into letter names in .com and number names in .com. We've had the same thing happen. It used to be in the 4-letter area, you wanted a CV. And this was like Hulu.com, the idea that it was a brandable word, it was short, any number of companies could use it. And that's what used to be valuable. And this was consonant, vowel. So CV. So far we've learned that L is letter, N is number, C is consonant, V is vowel. CV. Now, what happened here is we had the same thing come in where we have the definition of a Chinese premium, which is no vowels or no V's. So everything but that. And the wholesale price of these has pushed up to $600 to $800 if you can get them, but more likely $1,000. And this would be on marketplaces where you have maybe 10 to 20 bidders. This would be NameJet, this would be GoDaddy auctions, this would be Say-Do public auctions, and then there could be some individual demands, but really we've seen that. Now, what happened to the other ones? CVs are still going strong based upon their desirability. Sometimes you can't get those even for the 1,000. They may be 3, 5, or 10,000, even at a wholesale level. But the regular LLLs that have a vowel, but might not be too pronounceable, they're still down to a wholesale price of maybe 150 bucks. And if you really need to sell them, you may see some take place at 80 or 100 or 120. We just bought one for 120 the other day for our 1 to 1 million thing, which we'll tell you about later. So you have a split market here in the LLL. Chinese premiums, probably 800 to 1,000 minimum wholesale, hoping to get much more. Non-Chinese premiums, because this has taken up so much of the four-letter inventory, and other languages may want the 4 letters for the same reason, but they may not see all vowels as being particularly negative, or V's. Then we have this market. So now there's a bunch of people that want to buy these. Numbers continue to do stronger than letters, where these may be $1, $2, $5, $10,000. So then people have said, what's going to happen next? And they've said, okay, let's go to number. And if you think about it, there's 100,000 of these, because if you had the highest number you can have is 99,999. So you figure there's 99,999 of these. So we're going to say there's 100,000 of these. And there was only 10,000 4-number names. So a 5-number name is 10 times more likely, more available. The 4-number is 10 times scarcer than the 5-number, but that's still pretty scarce. Whereas if you go over here to 5 letters, this opens up to be 26 times 26 times 26 times 26 times 26. Even if you factor in that some of the letters are non-premium, you've still got 3, 4, or 500,000 of the 5-letter domains. So we haven't seen a point where these are for sure all registered or valuable, but we are at a point where every number is valuable. And now we're going to 6N and 7N if you can have certain attractive patterns. So if you can have something that ends in 888, or ends in 123, or has the same numbers repeated. And what people will call that is they'll call that an ABC pattern, meaning 123, 123, or 673, 673, where the same letter that occurs, the same letter or number that occurs at the beginning here in a pattern of ABC occurs here. So you can have other people that say, well, I'm going to make mine special because I want 6 number domain names that are AAA, BBB. So people have been able to go through with a computer and buy up all those possibilities. Once again, I believe the speculative desire to own these names may be outstripping the actual retail demand. But because there's so much money afloat in the world, people are looking for sure things, or looking for things they can make a lot of money on, buying these and either selling to a later wholesale buyer that comes in and says, wait, I want to have those. Or to a retail end user who says, yeah, I can brand my company with those special, unique numbers and the patterns that they represent. If you look at NameJet, we're into 6 numbers, 7 numbers that are all getting bids when they drop. And the more desirable one are not only getting $69 bids, but they're getting competitive auction bids and going higher, higher, higher. Now, what happens when you combine these two? Because this has got so popular, LLL's got so popular, you can look at now having 3 character names, which might be LLN, LNL, or NLL, meaning letter, letter, number, like Page How, PH1. So I may decide I want to have my website be PageHow1, PH1.com. Or letter, number, letter. I may want it to be like P2P. People talk about peer-to-peer lending, P2P. And then you can have number, letter, letter. And these are kind of interesting because the letters that come together, you could have it be like 6AW, 7AW. But what's even better is when you have a letter and a number. This seems to be almost like a call sign of an airplane. This could be like N47.com or B42.com. And some people have said, well, gee, because the letters are so valuable, you know, 10 to 20 to 30 to 100,000, and these are going to be shorter than a 4-letter name, let's go ahead and speculate in this area. Now, let's even get more complicated. You say, well, I don't want to go to 4 letters. I can't get letters and numbers. Let's think about what is the only non-ASCII character you can put in a domain name, and that's a dash. So then you have people saying, well, gee, here's what I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy letter dash letter or letter dash number. And all of a sudden, those names have gotten a bid. Then you have people going down here in the 4-letter thing, and so I'm going to buy letter, letter, dash, number, or number, dash, dash, letter. And you can create all kinds of scarcity beside those. And again, because if they're available for edge fee, you can buy 1,000 of them or 2,000 of them, and then hypothetically, they're all going to be worth 100 or 200 bucks. You've got people going in there buying all these things. All right. Now, besides the growth of the .com space, if we go back to the idea of letter, 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 and letter, 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 in .com, now we've got people who have said, well, gee, what if I go back to .net and .org, the other top 2 legacy TLDs? And all of a sudden, these have developed a certain scarcity value and a certain premium value. In cases where the .org could be the primary desired domain name extension for a nonprofit, having letter, 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 or number, 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 or number, 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 .net and org got valuable literally in the past 3 weeks. So people have gone through now where they're now say, I'll pay any wholesale price. Pay 50 bucks, I'll pay 100 bucks, I'll pay 20 bucks for any NNN, any NNNN. Then people have said, well, gee, if those TLDs are getting popular, what about some of the other ones that were recently introduced that were also successful? And so all of a sudden people said, I'll do this in .co, and I'll do this in .co, but maybe I'll only do a little bit of 3 letters in .co. Do I want those? And then people say, well, what about what other TLDs are popular? And so maybe you say .me, we really haven't seen a lot of interest, but .io has been another one that's been really popular. So people have said, I'll go for letters in IO. The other one would be .cc, excuse me, which has shown some popularity in Asia. So then you have people saying, I want letters in CC, numbers in CC, numbers in CC. All right, so you got big people playing in the .com area. You have everyone else trying to get inventory in these areas, hoping that as it's seen as scarce, people will want to buy it, maybe at the retail, but also more likely at the wholesale speculation level. But now let's talk about new TLDs. Now you introduce, and even if there's 800 to 1,000 new TLDs, we're going to say 300 to 400 really viable ones. You throw out the brands, you throw out the ones that are just too small. Now all of a sudden you've got the ability to get letter left to the dot, or letter left to the dot, which just happened on September 16th. September 9th was the release date for the EAP, if you watched our video yesterday. Those just came out there. These have been out since the start, and then letters in 300 or 400 different TLDs. Now, the letter.new TLD and the letter.new TLD mostly have high annual renewal fees. So they may be priced in tiers at say $240, $480, and $960. And you can actually get single letter new TLDs where instead of paying a big price at the beginning, $2,000, $5,000, $6,000, or $8,000 or $10,000, you can get into them for $240 a year, $480 a year, or $960 a year. And in fact, we found most of them are at the $960 a year. At $480, we found a lot of .tips domain names. And at $960, one of the ones that we really thought was interesting was .technology and then .network, which we thought had some global appeal. So if you follow us on social media, if you like us on Facebook, or if you follow us on Twitter, we'll make available our list of the best one-character new TLDs that you can buy. And because you're paying this price initially, you do have to pay it every year, this $240, the $480, and the $960. So it's not going to be cheap over time. But if you really want to speculate, you totally understand what you're doing, you want to take one of these names down, it's a chance to go up to the top scarcity level, single letter, even though you're not in .com, which is bankable, take it to the bank, you know, 2, 5, 10 million. You're in another new TLD, and you might have the information advantage that other people simply don't know they're available. Even other domainers didn't know they were available last year. I was late to the party on one letters. Everybody else was late to the party on one letters. Then they held them throughout the course of the year. Now a lot of them are dropping. There's no established drop system to tell you what's available. They never went through the pre-release auctions, in my opinion, because no one could figure out how to do the high annual renewal fee with a pre-release auction. They couldn't figure that out, so you got them going through a drop. No one's watching the drop. They're just out there available, and not all registries are going to show them as available. But here at dntv.tv, we show you some of the lesser known opportunities out there in the marketplace. You're still running against fear of adoption. You're still running up against 300 to 400 options for one letter new TLDs. But you've got this amazing scarcity premium where there's only 26 of them available. Most of them are priced at a flat price where every letter is the same. And if you sit there and you say, wow, that letter really has some desirability, you might be able to find a reasonable speculation in one character new TLDs. When it comes to the rest of this stuff, markets are changing daily. I expect this to grow. I expect more and more people to come in and take out these scarcity values in net and org, maybe in co, maybe in CC, maybe in .o. No doubt you may see .biz come in here and play, because at least it has a history. I would expect that you're going to see the CC TLDs get more valuable in some of these letters that are scarce, and I expect that you'll see the .coms, especially at the wholesale level, meaning people wanting to buy a speculative opportunity in COM. Not sure about what's happening with dictionary words, not sure about what's happening with long tail keywords, and they really focused in on this idea of short, scarce domain names. So thanks for watching me. I'm Paige Howe at DNTV.